The night my wife left, the air in our home turned cold and sharp like a shard of glass. I remember the sound of her car pulling away, a sound that seemed to tear a hole right through the quiet of our suburban street. She had patted my head, a gesture so dismissively casual it felt more like a goodbye to a pet than to a partner of 10 years. Then she walked out the door, her silhouette framed for a moment in the porch light before disappearing into the darkness with him. The silence she left behind was deafening. It was filled with unspoken words, broken promises, and the ghost of a future we were supposed to build together. I stood there in the living room, surrounded by the life we had curated. Photos on the mantelpiece smiled back at me, frozen moments of a happiness that now felt like a cruel joke. Her favorite blanket was still draped over the armchair, her half-finished book on the coffee table. Every object was a reminder, a little pinprick to the heart. The weight of it all pressed down on me, a physical force that made it hard to breathe. I felt a hollow ache spread through my chest, an emptiness where my heart used to be. It was in that moment of profound loss and confusion that I walked to the study. I opened the safe, my hands moving with a chilling, detached calm. The cold, heavy steel of the gun felt unfamiliar in my trembling hands. I loaded it. The click of the magazine locking into place was the loudest sound I had ever heard. Holding that weight, I felt a surge of something dark and powerful. It wasn't just anger. It was a storm of grief, betrayal, and a desperate clawing need for control in a world that had just spun completely out of my grasp. My mind raced with images of them together, laughing, happy, while my life lay in ruins. The thought was a fire, and the gun in my hand felt like the only way to put it out. I wanted the pain to stop. I wanted the roaring in my ears to cease. I just wanted everything to end. The polished wood of the stock was smooth against my cheek, and the world narrowed down to the small, dark circle of the sight. But then something broke through the haze. A photograph on my desk caught my eye. It was a picture of me and my dad, taken years ago on a fishing trip. We were both grinning, holding up a ridiculously small fish as if it were a trophy. I remembered his advice from that day, after I'd lost a much bigger catch. He told me, "Son, sometimes you lose the big one. It hurts, but the sun will rise tomorrow, and there will always be more fish in the sea. The important thing is to not let the loss make you quit fishing." His voice, so clear in my memory, was a lifeline. He wasn't just talking about fish. He was talking about life, about resilience, about not letting one loss define your entire existence. And then another memory surfaced. My sister, after her own painful divorce, crying on my shoulder. I remembered telling her that her life wasn't over, that she was strong, and that she had so much more to give and experience. I told her she deserved happiness and that she would find it again. The hypocrisy of my own words hit me like a physical blow. Here I was, holding a tool of finality, ready to throw away the very hope I had preached to someone I loved. What about the sunrise my dad talked about? What about the strength I told my sister she possessed? Did I not believe it for myself? Slowly, so slowly, I lowered the gun. My hands were shaking uncontrollably now, not with rage, but with the raw, terrifying realization of what I had almost done. The cold metal felt disgusting against my skin. I carefully unloaded it, my fingers clumsy and stiff. I placed the gun and the ammunition back in the safe, locked it, and then sank to the floor, my back against the wall. The tears finally came, not hot tears of anger, but cold, racking sobs of grief and fear. I wasn't just crying for my lost marriage. I was crying for the man I had almost become in that moment of despair. I cried for the future I had almost thrown away. In that moment, sitting on the cold floor of my study, I understood something vital. True strength isn't about control or retribution. It's not about making the pain stop by any means necessary. True strength is about enduring the storm. It's about feeling the full, crushing weight of your pain and choosing to stand back up anyway. It's about having the courage to face another day, even when you have no idea what it will hold. It's about reaching out, not for a weapon, but for a hand to hold. The first call I made was to a crisis hotline. The voice on the other end was calm, patient, and non-judgmental. Just speaking the words out loud, admitting how close I had come, felt like releasing a pressure valve inside me. They didn't offer easy answers, but they listened. And for the first time that night, I didn't feel completely alone. They gave me resources, numbers for therapists, and support groups. They gave me a glimmer of a path forward, The next call was to my sister. I didn't tell her everything, not then, but I told her I was hurting and I needed help. She was there in 20 minutes. The journey since that night has not been easy. There are good days and there are days when the grief feels as fresh as it did in that first moment. Healing is not a straight line. It's a messy, winding road with unexpected dips and climbs. I started therapy. I joined a support group for men going through divorce. I started really talking about my feelings for the first time in my life. I learned that my pain was valid, but it did not have to define me or my future. I learned that asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate act of strength. Today I'm still fishing. I'm learning to find joy in the small things again, the warmth of the morning sun, a good conversation with a friend, the simple satisfaction of a job well done. The scars are still there, a reminder of the battle I fought within myself. But they are also a testament to my survival. My story could have ended that night. But instead, it became a new beginning. If you are out there feeling lost in the dark, please know that you are not alone. There is hope and there is help. Reaching out is the bravest thing you can do. The sun will rise tomorrow, and it is worth being there to see it. Thank you for listening.